All right, I'm starting out with two of these wooden bunnies that I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to stain both of them in Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm going to do both sides, the front, the back, and all along the sides. I'm going to put it on pretty heavy because this raw wood absorbs it very well, and then I'll let it sit for a minute and I'll wipe back the remaining. Next, I'm going to paint my bunnies, and for the first one, I'm using the color Ballet Slipper by Waverly. It's a chalk paint, and I'm going to give it one coat. I'm going to start from the middle and work my way out. I don't want to drag my brush along the sides because I want that to stay nice and clean with that stain, and just be real careful that I don't get any paint along that area. My second one, I'm going to paint in the color Celery by Waverly. That wasn't mixed up all the way, but that's okay. It goes on just fine, and I'm going to repeat the same steps. And all these need is just one coat. And once they're dry, I'm going to sand them down a little bit. You can see where I sanded it along the sides and over the bunny. And then I'm going to take this piece of paper here. I got this out of my stash, and I traced the section out of my bunny and just cut it, and now I'm gluing it with a glue stick. And I'm using my hands to burnish it. My warm hands help with that adhering process, and so I'm just gonna rub and till it's nice and adhered. And I'm going to repeat the same steps with this bunny. I'm going to sand it a little bit. I didn't show you in the first step, so I'm showing you with this one. Just went over it along the top and the sides. And you can totally skip the step if you don't want yours to look distressed. Just leave it the way it is. And for this one, I'm using a napkin, and I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to use a glue stick, and only this time I'm gluing onto the bunny itself and then pressing my napkin into that glue. And you can use Mod Podge for this. You don't have to use a glue stick. This is just what I'm choosing to use today, but this works just fine. Just work in sections. You don't want to add glue to the whole area and then set the napkin down into it, because then you're going to have wrinkles and it's not going to be that easy to remove them. But to clean it up, I'm just taking my torch here, and it cleans up the sides real nice. Next, I'm going to make a messy bow, and so I took a bunch of different ribbons and took this piece of twine here and just added some tape to each side and just started layering in the shape of an X. Just add as much as you like. You can add any other colors and textures. These are a lot of fun to make, and you can't mess them up. And just tie it off when you're done. And I like to add several knots and just fluff it up real good. I set it off to the side for a minute because I'm just going to distress it a little bit. I can't leave anything alone. I've got to distress it. It's very rare that you'll ever see me not distress a project. But that's just me. That's how I like things. Then I went back to my bow and then just started dovetailing all the pieces. And this took me a minute. I probably should have done this step first. And then I just glued it right along the neck of my bunny. And I added a little twine bow on top of that. And I found these half wooden eggs at Hobby Lobby this year, and so I'm going to glue that right in the center. Added a little bit of Excelsior. just running what's left over on my brush over the napkin and along the sides. This is one of my favorite stamps. I got this at Hobby Lobby. It's got a script on it, and I'm just taking some ink in the color Stone Gray by IOD, and I'm just going to press here and there over my bunny. Next, I'm going to repeat the same steps with my green one using some distress ink. Age it up a little bit. I love things to look old. Just make sure you offload your brush or you're going to have a big mess. This time I'm taking a piece of burlap. I cut it in the shape of a square, and I did cut it a little too long, but we're going to fix that in just a minute. We're going to roll it up so it looks like a little bouquet wrap, and just add a dite of hot glue. I don't want it to be gobby because it will go through the burlap. And so it's a little too long here, and so I cut it, added some hot glue, and gathered up the bottom. And then I'm going to add some lace in between the pieces so that way you don't see the top of the paper. And then add a little bit of reindeer moss I got at Hobby Lobby, and then this lavender from the Dollar Tree, and then tying it off so it looks like a little bouquet. I'm trying so hard not to shiver. I am freezing today. And then added some glue along the back and glued that onto my bunny. I'm going to wrap some twine around this one's neck. I added just a dite to the back. And there's still some hot glue, so I pressed the remaining into that. Added a little bit of baby's breath. And these burlap bows I got at Hobby Lobby this year, and I'm going to glue that right along the twine. And I'm going to add one to both sides. And then for a tail, I took this furry cloth that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I had scraps in my stash, so I added a little bit of glue and then folded it inward into that glue. Now I have a little tail, add some hot glue, and there. That's super cute. And then this is a little, I don't know, like a little fur ball that I had in my stash. I don't know where it came from, but that is it for these little bunnies. I love them. I think they are just the sweetest things. Let me know what you think of these. And I did paint the back of the other one white. I think this stuff is for basket weaving. I'm not sure, but I found it at Goodwill. And I'm taking this little piece of cardboard. It comes with this pasta that I buy. And so I saved it. I thought it'd be perfect for this project. So I ended up cutting 3 pieces of this. I don't know what you'd even call it. This is how I found it at Goodwill, and I thought it'd be easier to work with, but it's quite stiff. But I'm able to braid it, so I take a piece of masking tape and just wrap it around the top to keep those pieces together, and then I braid it. But I have to hold it in my hands because it's so stiff, and that was just the easiest way to work with it. It doesn't bend very easy, but if you know what this stuff is called, let me know. There's no wire in the center of it. And I have so much of it, I don't know what I'm going to do with all of it. Then to finish off my braid, I add a little bit of hot glue and another piece of masking tape. Just wrap that around real tight. Added a dollop of hot glue and hold it there for a minute. And then I repeated that with the other side. Gosh, guys, I am so cold. You can probably hear it in my voice. Having all I can do not to shiver. And I got a sweatshirt on too. And we got heat in the house. It's just so cold. And so I reinforced that hot glue with some more masking tape. Want to make sure that stays. And then I thought I could wrap this around my cardboard, and it was just, I couldn't. So I dug this twine out of my stash. I also found this at Goodwill, and I like how it has, like it's attached to, I don't know what you'd call it, what that stuff is called. It's almost like a ribbon, almost like a drop cloth ribbon. So I started wrapping it and gluing it all along the sides. And at first I was gluing the cloth part down too, but then I stopped doing that, and I'll fix it in the end. I just wrapped all around. So now every time I buy this pasta, I'm gonna think of this basket that I made. I like using things that I would throw in the trash. I like finding things to make with them. And then so I cut it off. I want these to look nice and even. So every time I get to the end, I'll just cut it off. And I'm just going to keep wrapping this around the basket, just making sure to push my twine up real nice and close to the other. And you can use any kind of twine for this. I'm just using whatever I have on hand. And when I got this at Goodwill, I didn't realize that this is how it was made, but I do like this a real lot. And then once I got to the bottom, that's when I just ran some glue up on the inside, just like that. Just pressed it in, made sure it was adhered real good. And then I just folded that fabric along the sides. And if you were going to gift this to someone, you could even add either some fabric or some felt to the bottom just so you didn't see the white of the cardboard, or maybe even a placemat on the bottom. But this cleans it up real good. I think it looks nice and neat. Then I took my torch and I'm just cleaning up the sides, getting rid of all those little hairs, and it also adds a nice rustic look to it. I got my handle a little crooked, but that's okay. And then I took this filler from my Sonnets Makers box and added some of that. And then this is that grass mat I've been using. It's like a 12 by 12 inch mat, and you can just pluck those little pieces of grass off. I love this stuff. I've been using it a lot this year. And then added some reindeer moss. I started from the sides and then worked my way in the middle. I just wanted to make sure that it had plenty of that along the sides that you couldn't see the inside of the basket. And just started tucking these pieces in there. Next, I'm going to start tucking in some carrots. These are from Dollar Tree. Just shove them right in there. And some more of these carrots. I think some of these came from Hobby Lobby, but I'm going to cut the grass part off because it's so long. You'll see me trim those down here in a second. But I'm just kind of arranging them and tucking in more grass. I'm taking one of these bunny butts that I got from the Dollar Tree. I got two of them in my haul, if you saw that. And they're real messy with these. Look at the clumps of hot glue. I just couldn't leave that there. So I cleaned these up. I took out this chunk and a couple other chunks on the other side and just made it look a little nicer. Then I removed the skewer stick. Oh, I'm removing more hot glue. Oh, it's just so messy. They could do such a better job on these, but you know, they're mass produced. And then I stuck him right down in there so he looks like he's head first in carrots. And then I took these little wooden bunnies that you can get at the Dollar Tree to, or yeah, Dollar Tree. I was thinking Hobby Lobby there for a second. That's where the other cutouts come from. And so I put one on each end, and that is it for this little basket. I think it is just so adorable and it barely cost me anything to make. As always, let me know in the comments what you think of these. If you have a favorite today, if I've inspired you in some way, I would love to know. And if you're new here and you're liking these projects, I would love to see you subscribe and join our little family here on YouTube. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Until the next one, bye.